Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. We are so very lucky tonight to have Cassie with us. Here at the Belief Breakthrough Show, I am all about healing yourselves and breaking through your limiting beliefs, which is the very first thing you have to do in order to heal from your past, is to break through those damaging beliefs that are holding you prisoner in your life so that you can move forward. And so, as a holistic healer, I help you to move forward by breaking through those beliefs and healing the pain that those beliefs bring up in your life and help assist you through that process of addressing that pain and healing it so you can once again restore your joy and happiness in your life. And I know that one of the things that keep us stuck the most is finances. And so the month of December, we are focusing on financial health. And although I do have a history in financial health and real estate and mortgages and life insurance and all of that good stuff, it is not my expertise. My expertise is in healing the soul, not the financial bank account. So I am bringing in experts that can help you to do that. And tonight, I have to say, Cassie is probably one of the most experienced financial advisors or coaches that I have met. She is absolutely phenomenal. She has some amazing programs and strategies to help you get out of debt, to get back on your feet, to restore your bank account and your belief in money. So, with that, Cassie, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are so passionate about financial health?
Thank you. First off, thank you so much for the great introduction. I love the show. I love the name of the show, the Breakthrough, Belief Breakthrough. It is so true because the first thing I work with my client is their mindset, their belief, because
Mm-hmm.
it's really true. If you have the same belief, you're going to produce the same result. So you really
Mm-hmm.
have to work through that belief. But a little bit about me, I'm Cassie Ferrer. Most importantly, I am a mom of two, 4 and 6 years old. So they're keeping me busy all day, and they're very active kids. And in the daytime, I help individuals and families to improve their finances using various financial strategies. And on the side, I'm very passionate with women empowerment. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
podcast called Behind Those Hills. And we just have a book that came out sharing stories from women who have overcome major challenges. So I would love for you to be on my show. So we'll talk about that some other time. But I'm originally from Hong Kong. I moved here at age of 17, and I suffered through childhood abandonment. My dad pretty much left me and my mom when I was 2 years old, and my mom got remarried to my stepdad who had gambling problems. So growing up, I really didn't know that we have financial issues because those are not the thing that your parents typically will share with you. I just thought that we move a lot from different apartments to different apartment. But then when I got older, my mom shared that is because my stepdad would gamble rent payment and not letting us know. And at one point, my mom became a realtor and had an opportunity to purchase a home. And only years later that they had to foreclose the home because of the gambling issue that continued. And at age 17, I moved here to the United States. I had a lot of troubled teen years, and my mom thought it was the best decision for her to send me here to live with my dad. And I realized that my dad also had gambling issue. So I didn't really get the help financially at age of
Mm-hmm.
17. I had to work three part-time jobs while I was attending college to support myself because I really didn't get qualified for financial aid with my dad's salary. But I couldn't just go to them and say, "But my dad has gambling problem, right?" And they would just give me
Right.
the grant. It doesn't work that way. So I was working three part-time jobs while supporting myself. Graduating with high honor at college, went on, got my MBA, got a job at the bank. So I was thinking, wow, this is my breakthrough. I can break through the generational curse because I don't have gambling problem. I will be successful financially. And so what I did at age of 23, getting my first job at the bank, I got a house. I bought a house because I was associating house ownership with being successful. right?
Mm.
That's the first mistake, that you don't buy stuff because of your ego, right? You have to plan. So I didn't do any planning, even though that's what I did with my clients back then. Working at the bank is working their budget. I mean, I had a basic understanding of budget, but I definitely bought the house that was more than I could afford, because
Mhm.
I didn't expect that there might be salary changes. And so
Mm.
I entered banking in 2006, when everything was booming. Like, you basically give you money just to buy a house, right? There was like 110% financing. You get money just to buy a house, and that was me. I didn't know any better. And at around 2009, I got a promotion to have to move from Idaho to Texas. Remind you, that was during the time when the housing market really dropped, and
Mhm.
nobody really wanted to live where I was living. So I would have to basically pay extra money just to rent out the house. So it was really challenging, because I was working at the bank. It's not like I can just walk away. I could
Yeah.
lose my job, because you have to maintain a certain level of credit. So I had to work with a creditor, and they gave me a ridiculous amount of money that I have to repay, to basically just to sell the house to pay off the
Mhm.
difference. So remind you, at that time also, it was 2009, 2010, my retirement dropped by 50%. So I had to take out every dime for my retirement with penalty to basically make up the difference. So I basically lost all of my investment, and plus the money that I've been putting into the house to
Right.
sell the house, so I could actually break free at that point. So for me, at that point, financial freedom was just selling the house that was at a loss. It was awful, and it kind of brought me through that trauma that I had when I was a
Mhm.
teenager with my parents, having to witness those financial just challenge. And I'm thinking like, wow, I have an MBA, I have a degree. I was so embarrassed. I was working at a bank, and I had to go through that. But what I learned was that the biggest takeaway is, real estate itself is not a bad investment. It's the improper planning, the
Mm.
loan structure, that I was living above my mean. I taught people to do the things that I was not doing myself. So back in 2013, after my husband and I got married, we decided to buy our home together. But this time we did it right. We bought the house at the right price at the right time. And we bought it way below our mean, using the right loan structure, because by then I was managing the loan department. So I have a lot of knowledge on, what type of loan structure to get. And at that time, we bought the home in 2013, and we paid it off in 27 months. And now I
That's
am
amazing.
now I'm teaching other people how to do the same.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. I started studying Robert Kawasaki when I was 16 years old, and I wanted
Wow.
so desperately to learn to invest in real estate like him and become an investor and not be an employee of somebody else. And so I knew by 18 I was going to become a real estate investor. And about 6 months after I turned 18, I got my real estate degree for my real estate license, and then I did real estate for 6 years, and then I became a mortgage broker or mortgage officer, loan officer. Um, and I absolutely love real estate, but I can definitely say I don't have that financial training in regards to the investment in. We have done a few flips. Me and my husband, we have done a few flips of real estate, but I can't say that I'm like a real estate investor because I when it comes to the potential of losing money in real estate investing, I get terrified. And I know that that's an unrealistic fear, but it's still a limiting belief that I have to break through. Um, so it's something that because we still want to invest in real estate, I think we flipped 3 homes so far, but we lost money in the last one, which caused some fear. And so we haven't done it again since then. But that's something I'm definitely very interested in getting into again once we get our feet underneath us.
Course.
So,
And that's just it. When you make a mistake, it's actually the best lesson, because
mhm.
if I wouldn't have made that mistake and having to walk away, I didn't really walk away. I pay a lot of money to
Mhm.
basically give up the house. But if I wouldn't have made that mistake, I wouldn't be able to pay off the house in 27 months. And we actually
Absolutely.
upgraded to the house we are living now, after we sold our house, and we pay off this house in 3 years. So, and it's a much bigger and higher price home. So I know it is possible. to, it's just having to, and that's just it. The trauma is from your childhood trauma, your past
Hmm.
mistake, but learn what you did wrong and what lessons do you learn and how can you apply for the next time is probably the best
Absolutely.
the best thing I
Yeah,
can advise.
I do feel like failure is the best way to get to success, because failure is just a way of teaching you what way not to do it again, right?
Exactly.
You just have to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward and keep trying. And that's how you become successful. Nobody became successful overnight, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I was thinking too, because even with a degree in finance and an MBA and being in at that time in the financial industry for a while, although I bought the house right out the gate, like I didn't really have a lot of financial experience. It was just the pressure. Everyone was buying home. And I thought that's what successful people do at 23-year old. But that's how you learn. This is not,
Hmm.
you don't have to tie your success with, any material things. But
Absolutely.
yeah, your past trauma definitely has a role. Like I want to also use my husband as an example. So he he also really like Robert Kiyosaki. He likes all the investment. He likes to grow money. He has a really strong growth mindset, kind of a little bit different like me. I don't do well taking risk. I'm like,
That's my
you know
husband.
I, I don't do well taking risk, but he's all like, go all in, like go big. He's like that. So it's kind of good. We kind of balance each other out.
Yeah, definitely.
So when he first learned investment, I think he took like he saw like an advertisement somewhere and say, take this class and you're gonna double your money whatsoever. So he was taking courses, learning how to trade and learning, different kind of investment strategy. And he put in $6,000, and it was years ago when he was like early 20s. And at that time, that was all his savings, and he lost it all. Like I think within
Mm,
months. And so for the longest time, he would not basically invest in stocks. He would
mm.
get stuck and thinking only real estate is the only investment that he would not lose money. Really until last year that we both, because I like placing investment on stock investment, but value trading, like only on a few companies, because I follow Warren Buffett a lot. So I kind of inspired him to learn about that. And really, between last year and this year, he really invested a lot again. And this time he's really turning around because, he learned what not to do. And
Hmm.
this time he has major success. I mean, I think he invested 25,000 and turned it to 66,000 within
Oh,
months
wow.
because
That's
of he
amazing.
learned what not to do.
Hmm. Absolutely. So for that person that is just coming out of that failure, because I feel like you, just like you at 23, a lot of us feel like we have become an adult when we can buy a house. Like our society paints that picture. Once you are a homeowner, you are grown, right? And so that's something that we strive to get to. We strive to buy the house. And then also, like you said, your childhood trauma. A lot of us try to outdo our parents to prove that we're not our parents. So we're going to go above and beyond, and we're going to get better things or bigger houses or bigger cars. And so we do that, and then we fall because we don't have that financial literacy, that financial understanding of how to properly manage our money. And so for the person that's watching this that maybe is stuck in an abusive relationship and feels like they can't get out because of their financial struggles, or someone who has lost their child and feels like they have to go back to work before they're done grieving, but they can't afford to grieve because financially they're not set up to be able to do that. What are some of the techniques or strategies you would tell those people that can kind of start to rebuild or begin to grow their wealth at kind of like a ground level, like preschool knowledge?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is definitely working on the mindset. Because if your belief is that I'm always going to live paycheck to paycheck, I'm always going to have debts, I'm never going to be able to save enough money to leave my current situation, you're going to produce the same result. So you
Mm,
have to start thinking like, and this is not all just about positive mindset. It doesn't like, okay, I'm going to become a millionaire. That doesn't happen like that. But you have to believe that you are able to take action to achieve those things. then you want to come up with an action plan. So break free? What can you break free from having to live paycheck to paycheck? Then the first thing you can do is look at your budget and see where can you make cuts. And that comes down to, and a lot of people, first off, I want to point out, a lot of people don't follow their budget, not
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what they need to do. It's because their budget is not in line with their values and priorities. So they feel like it's a diet and they're being, punished. It's all about how you allocate your money so you can live the lifestyle that you want to live, so you can break free and achieve your goals, right? So being being mindful about where you spend your money and allocate money into the things that you really place high priorities on, and recognize the spending pattern. Are you trying to uh, spend money on things that you really don't need to trying to fulfill a certain emotional need? So recognize those triggers, but set a plan. Look at your budget. How can you put away maybe a certain amount, like 10% or 5%, and build up your emergency savings? The first step that I think everyone needs to do is to build up emergency savings. Now, people will be like, should I have 3 months? Should I have 6 months? That really up to your comfort level and how quickly would you be able to replace your income. But the thing is, once you establish that emergency funding, that's kind of like a huge lift, because now you break free from your limited belief that I always have to live paycheck to paycheck. That's not true, because you have enough to save up for your emergency savings. That means you always have left over. So, starting to recognize what you say about yourself and replace it with more empowering belief. And then the action will also follow your belief, which is, you know what, I'm going to start putting away, even just starting 1% automatically every check, take out 1% into the savings. Then you change to 2%, then you change to 5%. You keep cutting on the stuff that you don't need from your budget, or make more money so you can bridge that gap. So let's say I want to live a certain lifestyle. That's okay. Then you're going to have to make more money. You're going to have to make trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having that, and also having that support system. So let's say if you are using the money for the entire household with the kids, that needs to be talked to, about. Let's share about your priorities and values and allocate money for everyone. So there is no argument like, why are you spending money on this? Or like, this is stupid. Like, because then you guys are honoring each other's values and priorities. And also, of course, if you're thinking about buying a home, or where should you rent, how much should you pay for the mortgage, really think about how much would you be able to allocate, and anticipate there might be increases on your like insurance and taxes. So you have to have a buffer on when you're doing your budgeting. And of course, for example, if you have to move somewhere, how likely would you be able to rent it out and at the market price, and not having to pay extra to make up the difference on the mortgage? So, how high is the HOA fees, the taxes, and all that taking into consideration.
And then, so talking about buying homes, if you have someone who's interested in buying a home, what percentage should their mortgage be compared to their income? Because I know banks, I think, want 33% or less, but what's
Yeah,
realistic? Because nowadays the cost of living is really high and the salaries are kind of low compared to cost of living. So what's realistic, and what should someone who's thinking of taking that step of home ownership, like for their you put your salary into a pie, what should that look at like for the cost of living, like rent, mortgage, based on utilities, food, things like that? Like, do you have like a algorithm per se to help people kind of start to
love that.
discover that?
I love that question. And the standard mortgage, I think banks is 43%, which I thought is very aggressive. Like when you think
Mm-hmm.
about that, and when I was working in banking back when I bought the home at age 23, they were allowing DTI up to 50 or
Mm-hmm.
55%, which me and remind you, they were using stated income. So
Mm-hmm.
people were really buffering their income and say, oh, I really received this commission when
Yeah,
they
that's when
don't.
I was working
Or
the
at that
mortgage.
time, I didn't lie about my income. It's just my commission at that time was much higher than compared to 2008. 2009 after the market crash because I was a licensed banker. So my commission was based on the people putting in the stock market, right? So, so yeah, I mean, my commission really changed, after the fact. So my answer is, I mean, there is no set rule. However, I want to share mine. So for me to pay it off in 27 months, the percentage for us was 16, 17%, including including insurance as well as the tax for the home because it was escrow. But we also put down 20% on the mortgage. So, we put a pretty, significant down payment to have a much lower mortgage. But another thing is we only had a 15-year term mortgage versus the 30-year term. And that's another thing too, because it's the norm. People always think, you know what, it's the norm to take 30 years to pay the mortgage. So it's going to take me entire 30 years. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't. I mean, there's no set rule saying that you need to take 30 years to pay off your mortgage. I mean, it's just a way for banks to generate revenue for longer, right? And you
Right.
can actually get much lower interest rate if you do it for like 15 or 20-year term. But I know not everyone will be able to afford to do 15 and 20 years, but you can always make extra payment. You can always set, if you make the first month at the full mortgage, you can do maybe then half of the mortgage at a month if you have a 30-year term, so you can still pay off your mortgage earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And now some people might argue, like my husband, he's like, why are you paying off your mortgage when you can use that money to invest? Because your mortgage rate is only 3% and I can make 15, 20%. That is a valid argument. But here's my answer to him. I said, are we disciplined enough to be, instead of using that money that normally will pay the mortgage, to invest? Or would we be tempted for consumption? And my second question is your peace of mind more important than the potential income gain? Because nobody can guarantee you're going to make 15, 16% in the stock market in any condition. And number three is that what is the condition like? Like for me, I rather just have a payoff and have a peace of mind versus, we're gonna potentially make a lot. I mean, of course, anything you can potentially make more money, but what's more important to me is that I'm always gonna have a roof over my head. So that,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that was the peace of mind.
Absolutely. And then it becomes an asset instead of a liability. So potentially makes you money. I mean, it's building equity every single year, every single month,
Exactly.
really. And so even though it's paid off and you've got all of your money and tied up in that, well, you've got a portion of your money tied up in that house, it's still making you money every month. When the equity goes up, you're still making a percentage back on that investment. So you're not out
Exactly.
that money. The money's not dead to you. It's not working. It's still working. It's just at a slower rate because real estate, um, it, it incurs more interest at a slower rate than the stock market, but it still is building you wealth.
It
So,
is building as well. And what we ending up doing is, Tina, we ending up getting a home equity line against the house. So this
mhm,
is like this is how we kind of balance it out because he wanted to have the cash ready in case we see any investment, and I'm like, I just want the house to be paid off because that's just the kind of person that I am. I like peace of mind. Like, remind you, I don't like taking risk. So we ending up, agree, because this is what couples do. We have to come
right.
to an agreement. So we come to an agreement. We took out home equity line. So at any time, if he see any investment that he think is worth, we have access to the cash. But then at least the mortgage is paid. So
Hmm.
to us, that was, to me at least, that was very, very important to have that financial stability. And the reason is because of the childhood trauma
Hmm.
that I didn't have that
Absolutely.
ability as a child. So I grabbed onto it. But how I did it the first time at age of 23, I did it in a negative way because I didn't have the knowledge. I was in the right mindset, I wanted to have stability, but I didn't do it in the right way. And I also didn't do it for the right reason. I did
Hmm.
it because of ego and
Yes,
not because it was truly would benefit me financially. So that's another thing
absolutely.
too. It doesn't matter buying a house or a car or anything or clothes. Like the question you want to ask is it going to benefit you, really truly bring you joy, or are you just feeding your ego? That's another thing too.
Absolutely. I love that. Bringing in that ego piece because a lot of us want to just buy a house for ego, to say, I'm a homeowner, I did this, look at me, I own this is mine, even if we can't afford it. So that's really important to understand the ego. So thank you so much for giving us your time tonight. I know it's late over because you're on the east part of the state, right? Or the country, right?
Yeah,
It's late for you.
I'm in the happiest place on earth in Orlando, Florida. Not right now because of this. It's not like it's open, but it's not the way it was. But yeah, it's about 9:24 here, but it's perfect because my kids are asleep. So they kind of leave me alone so I could
Nice.
actually do the interview. Normally they were trying to peek in and they will try to say hi to, while
Mine
I'm,
do that too.
yeah, which is good because you know what, by the time they're 18, they're going to be the most financial, like they're going to be the has the most financial knowledge because they keep watching me doing this lives interview.
Absolutely. So if someone wants to work with you to gain financial literacy and to learn how to manage their money correctly and to make it grow for them and work for them and to really break through those limiting mindset beliefs around money, where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I have a free Facebook group called That's Free Family. In fact, I'm about to do something that I think is going to be very impactful for many. I'm about to put together a course on how to do your budget, how to manage your debt, how do you get rid of that limited mindset altogether, and I'm going to give it away for free. Because
Wow.
Yes, because this I made a goal for next year to impact millions of people, and this is the way for me to do it is to give this course for free. And of course, if you want more support and work with me one to one, I also work with individuals and families and businesses as well at a very limited basis. But I also have like group coaching and individual coaching for the individuals that need more support. So they can go to my group, That's Free Family, and on Facebook group, they will see me along with my family. Or they can email me at Cassie@numbersnerdconsulting.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I will put all of her information down below in the comments for all of you that want to get a hold of her and didn't catch it on this feed. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. We will be again live at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday with another expert on financial literacy. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now so you don't miss any more great episodes. We will talk to you guys on Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in.